Hello. Okay, okay. I was going to come on later, but I had some time now, so I figured I would just come on and talk real quick about this topic. So, I had put a poll in this group either yesterday or the day before, and I just generally asked how many people feel like they do not have enough time to prioritize their health, and the options were slightly different. The first one was definitely you feel like you do not have enough time to prioritize your health, and the other health, and the other option was that you have the time but you don't. You're not good at being consistent with what you need to do. And a lot of people, chose that they don't feel like they have a lot of time, and a smaller percentage of people said they do, but they have trouble being consistent. And I found it interesting and something that I wanted to talk about because I have this conversation a lot with people, and I think it's really important to touch on, especially moms. So we in this culture are very, very, very overscheduled. We are very frenetically busy. We have a lot going on basically all of the time. A lot of us work, some of us part time, some of us full time. Even if you're not working, you're home full time with your kids. Your kids have plenty of events and things that they're signed up for. Your spouse might have things they're signed up for or doing consistently. We're heavily, my family is heavily involved in church. There's a lot of activities involved with that. And it ends up being very, very busy. And so when I talk to a lot of people that are having trouble with their health and having trouble being consistent with the things they need to do in order to lose weight, this topic comes up often, that they feel like they don't have enough time. And I think it's something to address in our culture because it's kind of an issue for a lot of people. And we've gotten to the point where we say yes to so many things that we hardly have any margin or room to breathe in that. And when it comes to your health, there are some things that you have to prioritize. You have to make time for some things. Whether it's making time for movement, whether it's making time for meal planning or meal prepping, or any of the various things that are going to help you make some progress towards weight loss or improving your health. They require time, and consistently making yourself so frenetically busy that you can't make the time for those things is really challenging. I think there's sort of two pathways to this. I think a lot of people do have time and they're just not making the most out of their time, and they're having trouble being consistent, kind of like I mentioned before. But there is, a group of people that truly have so much going on that it's like almost near impossible to fit this kind of stuff in. And my challenge for us as moms is to really take a look at that and be intentional about what we're choosing to get involved in. Most of the time, this really has more to do with our kids. So sometimes we are scheduled that busy. We have a lot going on. But a lot of times, I find it's more often that your kids have a million things that are going on, and you are the one that's chauffeuring them or taking them or whatever. And I think I challenge you to look at this a little bit differently, because when we get our kids involved in a lot of stuff where we're wanting to give them opportunities, we're wanting to get them involved, to get them to learn something new, and all of that's all good intentions. But if that is coming at the detriment of your health, of making good choices for yourself and for your family, if it's coming at the detriment of you being able to make time for some of these things, then I ultimately thinking we're probably doing more harm than good. I think your kids are going to be seeing your habits, and they're going to develop their own habits based a lot on what you're doing. And so signing them up for 12 activities that they can be involved in, but that's coming, at the sacrifice of you being able to consistently do things that's going to improve your health, they're going to see that, and more likely than not, they're going to be mimicking those habits. And I think a lot of us that struggle with our weight or with our health, we really don't want our kids to repeat a lot of these things. And unfortunately, we learned a lot of things from our parents and our families. So I really think it's important for us to take a look at that, and be intentional. You know, if you want to get your kids or whatever signed up in a few things, that's fine. But I think it's important to actually look at your schedule and say, do I really have the margin for this? Do we really have the margin for this? Is this going to come at the cost of me being able to do some things that are important to me? And we love to say that we're gonna, that we want to put our kids first and we want to do all of these things for our kids, but it's really probably not. It's doing them a disservice in the long run, probably, to be signed up for so many things or be involved in so many things, and have you not really be putting the time and effort into your health in the way that you should be, because ultimately they're going to be making similar choices in the long run. So this was just a brief video, but it was on my heart because I've talked to so many people, and so often that's the conversation, is that we don't have time. And I think sometimes it's a matter of truly looking at the time that we do have and making better use of it. But sometimes it's learning how to say no, and allowing that to be able, for you to be able to say yes to other important things, and communicating that to your kids. It's okay to say, we can't say yes to that thing right now because we have all of these really important things that we need to do. And they're going to learn that, and they're going to see that, and hopefully they mimic that and they learn those habits. So just some encouragement. There's nothing wrong with saying no to these things. Sometimes you can look at your neighbor or look at another mom and see that they've got their kids like signed up for 12,000 things, or they're involved in 12,000 things. They're on, a million committees or blah, 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 blah. There's nothing wrong with that if it's not coming at the cost of something. But if it is, and for yourself, if it's going to come at the cost of something for yourself, I think it's important to evaluate that as a family, not comparing yourself to other people, but for your family, to see if ultimately saying no to some things is going to be more beneficial than saying yes, so that you can say yes to other stuff later. And some of this is seasonal too. Sometimes you're in a season of really young kids where that margin, you need that margin so desperately. And sometimes your kids get older and you get a little bit more freedom. So the seasons are going to change, and you might be able to change that boundary with time. But I think it's important to evaluate that and not just endlessly get involved in things to the point that you just do not have any margin to commit to your own health. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll leave your thoughts on this in the comments, and we'll keep chatting.